Well, this certainly feels like the right way to start something new. This week marks the official rebrand of this show from being at work to the full circle leader. And as it turns out, the very first story I have to tell you, the very first daily dose of leadership as the full circle leader is exactly that. What comes full circle? I was in southern Indiana for my mom's knee surgery several days ago, staying with my parents to help out while she was getting ready for the surgery and recovering. And while I was there, late Tuesday night, my cousin Carrie called telling us that my aunt Dolores, my dad's sister, who was in hospice, was making her transition. So, as my dad would, he got into the car and drove to the hospital and was there when she took her last breath. My Aunt Dolores was 102 years old, just 3 weeks shy of 103. So later that night, I was laying in my bedroom at my parents' house, thinking about the next few days and how I could be there for my family in the midst of my dad grieving and being there for his sister and nephew and family members, and my mom with her knee surgery. And my cousin Carrie called me and asked if I would officiate the funeral. She said it needs to be family, Andrea, because that's who Dolores was to everyone who loved her. Family was everything to her. So I said yes. And I spent the next 3 days doing something that felt a lot like the work I do every single day at Abundant Empowerment, just in a different room, different context. I sat with my cousins and talked with other family members and listened to stories and reminisced. I asked what mattered most to them and to her, and I tried to figure out what they needed to hear at the funeral, what they needed to feel standing in that room with family. So my aunt was born on August the 8th, 1923. Think about what she lived through. Women had just gotten the right to vote. She grew up in the Depression and the Dust Bowl. She lived through World War II, the Civil Rights Movement, a man walking on the moon, in a world that went from party lines and telephone operators, a job she loved actually back in the day, to the internet in her pocket. So the world changed dramatically while she was alive. Over and over and over again, it changed. But what she treasured throughout her life never did change. Her family, her faith, her dancing. She and her best friend performed together at the senior center in a group called the Doodly Doers. I love that so much. It may be the best name I've ever heard for a group of dancers. Her laugh, the kind that got everyone else laughing too. Her joy, actually joy is her middle name. So I stood up at the funeral on Saturday and asked her family to raise their hands, generation by generation, starting with her son and his wife, her siblings, her grandchildren, her 12 great-grandchildren, her 8 great-great-grandchildren, and then all of their people, their significant others. And by the time everyone's hands were raised, just about everyone in the room was raising their hand for generations. In one place, because of one woman who spent 102 years loving people well. And that is what this show, The Full Circle Leader, is all about. So I am so grateful for her example. I've learned a lot. I've been reminded of so much through all of this the last few days. Leadership is not about outrunning change. It's not about having the newest system or staying one step ahead of the shifts and the changes. My Aunt Dolores lived through more change than most of us will ever see. And she did not let it move her off of what mattered. Her family, her people, showing up. That is the whole circle right there. The world spins forward, but what matters most stays put. And the leaders we remember, the ones people would drop everything to stand up for, are the ones who stayed anchored to that while everything else moved around them. I think about all of the leaders I get to work with across our different clients every single day in the middle of reorgs and new tools and constant change. The instinct is to hold on tighter to the process. But maybe the real work is holding on tighter to your people, knowing their stories, showing up when you get the call, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're already stretched thin, caring for someone else. Carrie didn't call me to ask me to do the funeral because I had the right credentials to officiate a funeral. She called me because I was family. She knows that creating experiences is my thing, and family shows up and celebrates family. So here's what I would ask you to sit with this week. Where in your leadership have you been so focused on what's changing that you've lost touch with what hasn't? And who in your life or on your team would say without hesitation that you are the one who shows up? That's full circle leadership. It was true in 1923, and it's true right now. What a great way to take care of yourself and ultimately each other.